Depeche Mode, See You, from the album A Broken Frame, 1982. This may be the best use of the PPG wave ever made. So there are four basic sound sources in this. There's of course the PPG wave, the Jupiter 8, the ARP 2600, and the Linn LM1 drum machine. A little side note about Depeche Mode's Jupiter 8. It sold at auction in 2018, and how much do you think they got? Well, I would have guessed 150,000, 200,000. I mean, it's the Jupiter 8 that they used in all their early albums, the best albums in my opinion. On tour, it's in some of their videos. Well, it brought just under $13,000. In 2018, that was just about the market value for a Jupiter 8. It wasn't anything more than any ordinary Jupiter 8 would have brought. Kind of blew me away that being Depeche Mode's Jupiter 8, the Jupiter 8, had no value. So this was a very unique era here in the early 80s with Depeche Mode using the PPG. They really set themselves apart. I remember when I heard the album A Broken Frame, I was just blown away. I was in high school at the time, and of course there was no internet. We had no clue where they got these otherworldly sounds from. But what we kind of heard was what we described as a helium sound, like when you inhale helium in your singing, and it's that sound of those cycling waves. This is a unique quality of the PPG wave. It really makes bell sounds and sounds like that sound otherworldly. And Depeche used those bell sounds to great effect in See You, so let's take a look at how they made it. See You has so many layers in it and so many different sounds. It's hard to know where to begin, but as the song begins, there's fading in this vocal formant sound coming from the PPG wave. I'll solo it out. Today it may sound kind of cheesy, but certainly in my mind it's associated with a lot of nostalgia of the time. But it was pretty easy to create with the PPG. If you just click on the Digi key here, you can choose the wavetable, and that's a grouping of 64 different waves, numbered from 0 to 63, but it's actually 64 of them. And number 27 is a grouping of formant vocal waves. And then you come down here where it says oscillator, and you can choose one of those waves. So you have a tremendous variety of different timbres to choose from. And then you can choose a different sub-wave and create some really unexpected tones every time you sit down to it. But if you want to recreate it, it's wavetable number 27, and I've chosen the actual wave number 30. And then if you hit the mod button and hit the fine button, you can apply some LFO to the pitch, as I've done. Give it a little human vibrato feel. And the bass line comes from the Jupiter 8, and you can get the settings from the front of this Jupiter 8. There's nothing hidden. Let me solo a little bit of that out. And then there are three more sounds that come in the intro. The bell sound, the harpsichord sound, and a sound I call brat because that's kind of the sound it makes. So let's take a look at the bell sound here. Hitting the Digi key, you can see the wavetable is number 14, the organ sin. Now there is a bell wavetable in here, but for some reason this sounded more like it to me. And then I am choosing wave number 4. Solo that out a little bit. Sounds like I had just a little bit of LFO to the pitch on that as well. And then in a little question and answer format, you have the harpsichord answering back. And this is the harpsichord patch. It's the Number 29, PWM wavetable. And wave number 10 is what I've chosen for that. So let's hear the bell and the harpsichord answering back. And then the sound I call the brat sound. It's wave table 13, clipper, and wave number 58. Now the chime, the harpsichord answering back, and the brat sound coming in. The percussion in CUs is really fascinating and very unique. So the kick and snare are made up of the Lindrum LM1, and I just use samples for that. And there's no conventional hi-hat, but there are just these little puffs of noise that come in here and there. I guess take the place of a hi-hat, but not really in the conventional sense. And then there's something I call a castanet, but it's really not like a conventional castanet. I made it with the Jupiter 8, and it's really kind of a swirly LFO resonance sound, percussion sound. So in the picture I showed, you can see the ARP 2600 there in their studio, and they used that a lot of times to do the kick drum, but most likely it was used to make this little noise pulse that takes the place of the hi-hat. And let me solo that out a little bit, let you hear what that came out like. Let's take a look at this castanet patch. These are the settings. It's kind of like a castanet with an LFO on it, a really strange sound. Let's listen to a little bit of that. And when you put all those sounds together, you get the miracle of the Depeche Mode rhythm. And then there's a sound I call back brass. It's kind of a little bit like a tuba sound is what I think of it as. It works with the bass line and really fills it out. So this is that patch. I'll solo it out and then I'll show you how it works with the bass line. Now when you put that in with the bass line, listen to the genius as everything fills out together. Then in the middle there's this little section you could refer to as the Antichorus, where there's a different bell sound and a sub sound along with that. So let's take a look at those two sounds. So this is the other bell sound. It's made up of the bellish wavetable, and it's wave number 20. And there's a subwave as well. Looks like number 28. And then there's a sub sound that goes along with that, which is wavetable 21, and it's wave 3. And I'll solo those out. They really make an effort to change it up all the time. And in the middle of the song, some strings come in to kind of fill it out even more. And this is what that patch looks like, string patch. I'll solo out a bit of it. Sounds really great when you put it with the harpsichord. I think I showed you all the patches. You should be able to recreate the song now if you have those VSTs. And so I'll play it out from the string section forward.